Oh shit! Ah! Oh god. That could have been better. Sorry about that, folks. Little mishap with a portal gun. Oh, my mistake, Cream Puff. Maybe next time you can tell me where to properly aim the son of a bitch! Anyway, if you were to ask me what was my favorite cartoon that aired on Cartoon Network, it would undoubtedly be Ben 10. The original, not the reboot. A show about a 10-year-old boy who gets an alien watch that allows him to turn into various aliens. Possibly the biggest thing that attracted me to the Ben 10 fandom was of course the design of the aliens. With aliens like Big Chill and Ghost Freak being my two all-time favorites, hands down. The Ben 10 franchise wasn't even afraid to show a few gimmicks to give Ben the upper hand in certain situations. Whether it be fusions,
Heat Blast and Ripjaws, not the best combo.
All the way to the ultimates.
Ultimate Big Chill.
And despite how I feel about the 2016 reboot, I will admit that there was some cool things that weren't included in the original, including gimmicks such as Omni Enhance, Omni Kicks, and Omni Knot. I've even seen fans of the community make their own transformation gimmicks, such as these Celestial Enhanced aliens made by this incredible artist. These are basically the Omni Enhanced versions, but instead of Shock Rock, they use Alien X as the enhancer. Eventually, I made some transformation gimmicks of my own. Which, of course, leads us to the topic of today's video. What if we took various aliens from the Ultimatrix or Omnitrix and imbued and enhanced them with elemental power? Now, this was an idea I came up with, I literally had this idea just yesterday. And to make it extra interesting, we're not going just with the 4 main elements. Now, here are the elements that I will be using. Fire, water, earth, wind, electricity, metal, ice, wood, light, darkness, sun, moon, heaven, hell, magic, mind, spirit, radiation, sound, crystal, emotion, poison, nothingness, time, space, energy, and cyber. Now, let's lay down some ground rules. 1. The alien's powers and design must change based on the element. 2. There must be a trade-off. Whether it be a power trade-off, a physical trade-off, or whatever. Basically, to gain new abilities, they have to lose something to get it. 3. Only one element can be used, no more, no less. And 4. Only Omnitrix/Ultimatrix aliens can be used. Now, as for the aliens I will be using, I'll be doing regular aliens, ultimates, and fusions, just to make it interesting, and add a bit of diversity. I won't, however, be including Omni Kicks, Omni Enhance, Omni Knots, or even Nematrix Predators.
No.
And to make things even more interesting, I'll also be including the non-canonical aliens. Plus, this video is the perfect opportunity to test out my new custom-made Omnitrix that I made for this video, I dub the Elementrix. This bad boy allows me to select an alien and an element of my choosing in order to create the transformation that I want. Of course he does, sis. He even gave me the go-ahead. You really think I'd do this without old Frogger knowing? Ovi, I swear to God, I will take the halo and shove it right up. Okay, without any further distractions, let's get down to it.
Lockjaw.
First off, we have the Iron Seaman, Lockjaw, the result of ripjaws combined with the element of metal. Talk about heavy metal, am I right?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
So let's start off with Lockjaw's design. Since its ripjaws combined with the element of metal, I decided to give him a hard metal exterior. Now, he may look robotic, but in actuality, he's covered in a technologic suit of armor, kinda like the armor worn by Iron Man. Now, Ripjaws is inspired by both a shark and an anglerfish. But for Lockjaw's design, I went for something a bit more prehistoric, more specifically the Dunkleosteus. Hopefully I'm saying that right. The reason I went for the Dunkleosteus for the design is because these things were said to be covered in plated bony armor, so I figured a suit of metallic armor would be perfect for this. As for the name, Lockjaw, the name itself comes from an alternate name for tetanus, and tetanus is known to cause painful muscle contractions, specifically in the jaw and neck area. The reason I went with Lockjaw because those massive jaws look like they can bite down and never let go. Now, on the forearms, I decided to give him these blades for fins, which we will get to later on, and of course I decided to give him a tail, which is also tipped with a blade-like fin. What does he look like underneath the armor? Well, who can say? Whenever an Omnitrix or Ultimatrix alien is enhanced through an element, they retain certain abilities and weaknesses as well as gain new ones. For retained abilities, these include sharp and strong teeth, mouth expansion, underwater breathing, speed swimming, underwater vortex generation, sharp claws, enhanced strength, enhanced durability, which is maximized due to the metallic armor, enhanced jumping, and enhanced stomach capacity. As far as new abilities are concerned, these include the aforementioned sharp blade fins. And when I say sharp, I mean really sharp, like they can easily tear through the hull of a warship like a hot knife on butter. Another new add-on ability that I decided to give him was projecting trilobite missiles. These are projectiles that are designed after the trilobites, hence the name. These things are heat seekers, they have razor-sharp edges, and they can violently explode on contact with the target. And the rest of the ability add-ons include headbutting, strong prehensile tail, thermo-endurance, water spit, water absorption, water blasts, radiation immunity, enhanced intelligence, and technological expertise. Now, onto the weaknesses. The only retained weakness is dehydration. Due to his Piscean physiology, he's still vulnerable to dehydration when on land for too long. He can stay on land a lot longer than regular Ripjaws does, but even then he's still prone to dehydration if stuck on land for far too long. And for new weaknesses, these include water-conducted electricity vulnerability, magnetism vulnerability, corrosion vulnerability, and acid vulnerability, due to the metal incorporated into his body. Overall though, I think this is a pretty good start. Better get your tissue boxes ready because this next one is going to give you some major feels.
Moodstone.
Next up, we have the Crystal Heartthrob, Moodstone, the result of chromastone melding with the element of emotion. If there ever was an alien that could tug on your heartstrings, it's this guy. Now, for the overall design and body shape, I wanted something a bit more effeminate. So I immediately went with something similar to Metaton from Undertale. Now, for the color palettes, I went for a lighter magenta-ish pink for the crystal parts, while for the other parts of the body, I went for something like rose gold. Now, for the eye color, I decided to go with rainbow multicolored eyes. I just thought it was a very cool aesthetic. The feet, I wanted to make them look more like stiletto heels or boots. Again, just for aesthetics. I wanted to give them this overall sassy design, if you know what I mean, like a sort of yassified look. Now, there are some aliens that Ben has turned into that have differing personalities, such as Wrath's high aggression and smack talking.
Let me tell you something, Kevin Lennon. Nobody's giving nobody nothing. Oh. Let me tell you something, Octagon Bradle. You got too far. Let me tell you something, Incursion Commander Sangfroid. Wrath has a better idea. I'm coming over. Hold this. Let me tell you something, Jared of Pantophage. I just jumped down your throat. You start a war with the Lodens, and I will do it again. Only next time, I will knit your intestines into a sweater.
Brainstorm's heightened intelligence, use of big words and fancy phrases, and enormous ego, is specifically in Alien Force.
My oversized cranium and intellectual superiority that naturally follows from it. This is obviously the correct form to pilot this vehicle under these trying conditions.
That's precisely why I should pilot this ship. Are you inferring that you're smarter than me because your head is bigger?
No. I'm implying that I'm smarter than you because my brain is bigger. I sincerely doubt you would display such bravado were you cognizant of your imminent encounter with... This is nothing more than a straightforward puzzle. I posit that a simple application of physics and angular mechanics should provide a more than adequate solution. Or in more colloquial terms...
Or jerry-rig's desire to rip apart technology like a kid opening a birthday present, and even building stuff like a mechanic hyped up on caffeine.
Wrong alien, Ben. Out of there, get!
Ben, control yourself!
He's taking apart the brakes!
I figure why not do the same thing with Moodstone here. I went for more of a posh type of personality, you know, like the stereotypical fashionista type of personality. Like Rarity from My Little Pony or Edna from The Incredibles. I don't know why, I just saw that kind of personality fit for this guy. And of course, to keep on to the emotional theme, I had a crystal shaped in a heart located in the center of his chest. And that pretty much covers the design, but what can this guy do? Now onto the power section. For retained powers from Moodstone, these include energy refraction, flight, levitation, enhanced strength, enhanced durability, enhanced jumping, enhanced speed via flight, space survivability, radiation immunity, electricity immunity, xenocyte position immunity, ectonoric position immunity, heat resistance, prismatic explosions, rainbow generation, and rainbow trail. Yes, I know that was a lot to unpack here, and trust me, those were just abilities retained from Moodstone. As far as new abilities are concerned, one new ability I decided to add was mental pathokinesis, meaning he can change the mental state of others around him by thinking of a certain emotion. For example, by thinking of anger, he makes other people angry. By thinking of sadness, he makes other people sad, and so on and so forth. Radiated pathokinesis and emotional aura mean that he can spread his aura to spread whatever emotion he thinks of or feels to others. And even patho-elemental-kinesis, meaning that he can control certain natural elements depending on his emotions. Like when he's angry, he can control heat or fire. When he's happy, he can control light or electricity. When he's sad, he can control water, etc, etc. And the last emotion-based power I wanted to give him was pathochromokinesis, which is essentially color changing depending on one's emotional state. Basically, the various crystal parts on his body change color depending on what emotion he feels. Like blue for sadness, red for anger, yellow for happiness, purple for fear, green for disgust. I think you get the idea. And of course, the last two abilities I decided to give him are enhanced flexibility and enhanced agility. This is mostly due to his more slender body frame. Now for weaknesses, retained weaknesses include water-conducted electricity vulnerability, durability limit, and strength limit. As far as new weaknesses go, the only one he has is ineffective pathokinesis. meaning that his emotional powers don't work on certain individuals. Needless to say, Heartthrob is the kind of guy that would fight crime while looking fabulous. Next we have the Freezing Phantom, Polargeist. This one just might be my top favorite. This guy is the end product of Ghost Freak merging with the element of ice. If you thought regular ghosts are scary, then this Arctic Spectre will quite literally chill you to the bone.
Boo!
For design inspiration, I went for 3 different spirits of folklore. Firstly being the Whites, which are apparitions that are often described as skeletal figures, the Yurei, which are literally Japanese ghosts, and the Yuki-onna, or Snow Woman, which are spirits or yokai that are said to prey on men during a snowstorm. Now, for the head, I decided to make it look skull-like as a sort of nod to Zeskare, but I didn't think that just a skull-like head was enough, so I also enshrouded it in a thick fog, forming these wispy tendrils that almost look like long, waving hair flowing in the breeze. And of course, I also decided to give him a hood, to further add to the ghostly, phantom-like look. For the hands, I made him a sickly, pale, purple color and gave him ice claws. The ice claws serves as a nod to Mizure Shirayuki from the anime Rosario 2 Vampire. She is one of my favorite characters in that show, and the ice claws made her look really badass. But yeah, all in all, I really like the design. I went with this one. Now onto the powers section. For retained powers, I'll let you guys pause here to read all of it, so that way I don't have to list all of it myself. For new powers, again, I'll let you pause these to read all of them. Inaudibility, Inodorosity, Inaudibility Infusion, Inodorosity Infusion, and here are the rest. Now for weaknesses, which thankfully aren't that numerous. Retained weaknesses include neutralized intangibility and invisibility, ineffective body possession, and body possession rejection. New weaknesses include extreme heat vulnerability, ineffective cryokinesis, intangible opponents, fire vulnerability, and electricity vulnerability. I like this one because of the fact that Ghost Freak and Big Chill, 2 of my favorite aliens in the Ben 10 franchise, have similar abilities and similar designs. Regardless, I have someone mentioned turn possibly the creepiest alien Ben has ever turned into something even creepier. No doubt, this guy will definitely send a chill down somebody's spine. Now onto the walking crab boil, boiling point. The result of Crabtastic combining with the element of fire. Finally got a non-canonical alien out of the way. And a very crabby one at that.
Shut up, dude!
So, given the fact that this is an aquatic alien and be with the element of fire, it made sense to give this alien the theming of boiling water or steam. For the body shape, I may have took some inspiration from a Ben 10 villain named Crab, spelled K-R-A-A-B. I also took some inspiration of the Ben 10 reboot alien Overflow, as well as the Pokemon named Volcanion. I basically took the water-filled tubes and tanks along with the respirator from Overflow, and as for the Volcanion inspiration, I proudly took the blaster tubes on Volcanion's back and converted them into the barrels that are found within his claws. And of course for the color palettes, I went with deep red and rusty orange. I mean, the guy is made from fire after all. Alright, on to powers and weaknesses. For retained powers, these include sharp and strong pincers, enhanced strength, underwater breathing, and wall climbing. For new powers, these include steam generation, pyrokinesis, fire manipulation, hydrokinesis, water manipulation, explosion generation, water absorption, enhanced durability, enhanced digging, sharp rotating legs, thermal vision, 360-degree head rotation, explosive bubbles, moisture absorption, 9 vulnerable exoskeleton, skull generation, and heat generation. Now for weaknesses, Crabtastic weaknesses are not exactly stated, but since he is a crab-like alien, I would say that dehydration would be an inherited weakness. And as far as new weaknesses are concerned, I figured I'd give him water-conducted electricity vulnerability as a weakness. But other than that, I think the end result is satisfactory. So yeah, probably a good idea to not get this guy steamed up. Let's just move on to our final entry. Last up for today, we have the mean green alien machine, Overgrowth. The final product, a wild vine being infused with the element of wood. That's right, I give wild vine a bit of a boost by infusing him with his own element. Instead of just taking a random alien and combining it with a random element to create a new alien, I can also greatly enhance an alien by infusing it with its respective element, like I did here. Suck on that, Albedo. So it's pretty obvious that Overgrowth's design is pretty much of a far cry from Wild Vine's. His body is more tree-like and is mostly covered in thick layers of bark. One thing I decided to do was take away the seed bombs on his back and replace them with these large bulbs on his forearms. In place of vine-like tentacles, I replaced them with 4 tree trunk-like legs, but I didn't want to completely remove the tentacles, so I placed them on the ends of his feet. The head covering, instead of a Venus flytrap, it's more of a flower-like covering. The flower itself is not only armed with sharp teeth, but also secretes a digestive substance, very similar to the digestive secretions of various carnivorous plants, such as the Venus flytrap, the Cape sundew, or even the pitcher plant. As far as inspiration goes, I heavily base Overgrowth off of the Madagascar tree, a carnivorous man-eating tree that allegedly resided in the jungles of Madagascar. Word of this thing spread like crazy between 1874 and 1933, and many people were convinced that there was actually a carnivorous man-eating tree lurking in Madagascar. That was until stories and the alleged sightings of this thing were proven to be a hoax. But I thought the Madagascar tree was a perfect source of inspiration for Overgrowth's design. And for anyone who noticed, yes, I did use the name of Overgrowth from Danny Phantom. And now on to powers and weaknesses. For retained powers, he has chlorokinesis, elasticity, body alteration, regeneration, vine generation, thorn generation, enhanced strength, enhanced durability, enhanced digging, flame retardant immunity, corruptor resistance, thorn projection, plant merging, and fertilizer gas. New powers include multi-purpose flower bulbs, explosion generation via flower bulbs, smoke generation via flower bulbs, irritant dust generation via flower bulbs, closable flower, limb reattachment, root generation, cold resistance, chlorokinetic healing, botanical communication, chlorokinetic constructs, plant flight, matter surfing via chlorokinesis, plant generation, seismic sense through plants, chlorokinetic scrying, water absorption, and sap projection. For weaknesses, retained ones include elasticity limit and electricity vulnerability. For new weaknesses, these include ineffective chlorokinesis, pesticide spray vulnerability, reptile attraction, insect attraction, and fire vulnerability. And that just about wraps up this video. Thank God I finally managed to get it done. If you guys want to see more like this, then hit like, subscribe, and feel free to hit that notification bell. And as always, I'll see y'all. What's going on over there?
ソルドは別次元に住む
Hold up, they what? Wait, I don't remember there being that many. Okay, this is pretty bad. I better get some help, like, right now.